Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another review on the Junior Sambia card. We're going through the card stats, clips, and summary. Before we get into all of that, if I could ask you guys to please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when I upload, and comment down below if you've used this card and what your thoughts are on it. And without further ado, let's get into the review. So guys, getting into this Junior Sambia review, and this is the team I used him in. I played him in that right back slot, and then I shifted him inward into that centre back slot as well, just to test him out and see how he did in that role. And overall guys, my first impressions of this card, I think this card is okay at right back. I feel like he gets a little bit lost because of certain factors, but at centre back I do feel like he's a very solid option and is very usable there. Without further ado though, let's just get into the review. Junior Sambia, 6'1", medium work rate, is right footed, 5 touch wins, 4-star weak foot, 8 games played, 1 goal scored and 1 assist. Now guys, immediately this will tell you why I don't like him at fullback, and it's those medium work rates which makes players feel very lazy in that position. So I do feel like that's why he was more suited to centre back. He was a little more static in that centre back role and able to play there a little easier. Did get one header for me as well in terms of goals guys, and off that fullback slot I felt like he was just a little bit lost. In terms of chemistry style guys, I tried a sentinel on him. I do feel like the best way to go with this is an anchor, which is what I ended up going with in the beginning. You need to give his pace a little bit of a boost because of his acceleration being lower than his sprint speed, and then his defending stats are pretty poor as well, so that does need a lift as well, which we can see here if we just go straight into the cons of this card. The defending stats are quite poor, especially even for a fullback, so you do need to help that out immediately. The physicality stats are decent, however the aggression needs to be higher as well, so I feel like the sentinel helps, or of course the anchor helps too. His acceleration of course is the wrong way around to his sprint speed, but in terms of pros guys, we've got a lot of pros as well. He is very quick considering all of that. He is 6'1" as well. He's a very big player as well. His agility is pretty decent, however offset a little bit by his 6'1" height. Passing is quite good, crossing is really good as well, and his set pieces are pretty decent as well. So all of that leads to a very nice, capable, technical central player, or even a fullback. If you are going to use him at fullback though, you guys do need to put specific instructions on him to allow him to play to the best of his ability. I do feel like there's certain elements this card really do hold him back from being a good fullback. However, at centre back, a really lovely across the card, really lovely set of skills and abilities there as well, which just leads to a great player in general. In terms of traits guys, we've got no traits on this card, so without further ado, having covered all that, we're going to get into some of the clips that I got with. So guys, getting to some of Junior Sambia's clips, and what you guys are going to see is his general ability to play in that right back slot as well as playing in that centre back slot. I tried him across both those positions of course, and I would say guys, the first thing we're going to get into is his pace. I do feel like his pace is slightly lower than what is stated on the card. Now that is of course because of his acceleration being the lower of the two stats compared to his sprint speed. He does have a very high sprint speed, but his acceleration isn't as high, and because he's quite big as well guys, I feel like that acceleration is offset a little bit by his size. However, what I would say guys is he's very capable, especially for a centre back slot, which is where I think you guys should be playing this card, and we'll just dive straight into that point right now. Is that I think this card is more of a centre back than it is a fullback, and for those reasons I would say guys that you should focus on looking to boost him in ways in which he would be best for a centre back slot. Now given that he is a fullback and he has some technical ability, when you move him to that centre back slot, he does play very well. He's capable of winning the ball, especially off those tackles like that. If you give him a little bit of a defensive boost as well, he becomes very astute in terms of defending, blocks the shots well, and his size really comes into its own there as well. Because he's so big, so lengthy as well, what ends up happening is you get a lot of blocked shots, you get a lot of interceptions just because of his size, which is really nice to have as well. You guys will see this more and more as things start to unravel. Here we get in the way again. It's his size again over and over that helps you out in the defending aspects. If we just get into his actual defending guys, you do need to boost this. Although you are seeing a number of tackles here that he's able to make, his defending stats actually aren't that good. So an anchor is definitely one of the ways you can go with this, or a shadow. You do need to focus on boosting his defending stats. You may not need to, if you're playing him a centre back, boost his pace, which then leaves you a bit more room to boost other elements of the card and give yourself the best card that you can in that centre back slot. However, if you are going to play him at fullback, I would say that you do need to help out that acceleration because the sprint speed alone is not enough to carry this card. The next thing I'm going to get into guys, and it's just a quick point on it really, is his passing. His passing is pretty good. He's pretty technically proficient there. Short and long passes as well. You guys can see a number of outlet passes that I'm able to play with this card. It was fairly easy to do that, so that was a nice little bonus to have in this card as well. Getting into the final few clips, guys. This one here, of course, just picking up the ball in midfield and then passing it back out again. A lovely interception. And this final one, the only goal he scored for me, a header, which he gets in front of the keeper for. Lovely header right here. So guys, getting to this final Junior Sambia summary, 89k on the PlayStation, 78k on the Xbox, and 90k on the PC. Now, of course, guys, the key stats of this card, I think, are jumping, stamina, and strength. I think his physicality is really good, especially given the size he is. He is, of course, 6'1" at that fullback slot. I think his crossing is pretty good. I do think his set pieces are decent as well, so that's all nice to have. It gives you something different in terms of what your fullback's able to do, especially that sprint speed as well is quite decent too. However, guys, I wish the drawbacks of this card, the acceleration, and the fact that his defensive starts aren't actually that strong. I do feel like that's where you need to focus your chemistry style on this card. I do think that the dribbling is pretty decent as well, even for a big man. So if we look at what chemistry style I put on him, guys, I think an anchor is a good way to go with it. I think that does help his pace out, of course, a lot. Does help his defending out a lot as well, and will help his physicality out a bit as well. Though, guys, you could also try a shadow out on him, and that would, of course, do a lot more or different things to his defending, rather, not necessarily more, because his pace doesn't really go up as much as you would want it to either. So I think the anchor is the way to go in terms of chemistry style there. In terms of similar players, guys, he's a very tall fullback, and I feel like he's more of a centre back build than he is a fullback. So for me to compare him to any other fullbacks is quite difficult. I do feel like that these taller fullbacks tend to be a lot more capable, of course, at the centre back slot. I do feel like he's got some sort of comparability with the Mbabu card. I think Mbabu, of course, is a lot wider, a lot better card as well than this Sambia card, but there are certain similarities between the two in terms of their pace, technical ability, and their physicality as well. In terms of linkability, guys, you've of course got perfect links to that Mollet card at Laborde as well, and then strong links to French players from Ligue 1, as well as all the French icons. There's lots of linkability options in there, as you guys can see here. Lots of good options to link him into there. Going into the price comparison, guys, we're going to look at right backs comparison, because the centre backs, of course, I think they tend to be a little more expensive if they are focused in that area. So I think we need to look at the right back comparison. If we look at him compared to, say, where the Kleiber SBC sits, I do think Kleiber is a better card than him. However, guys, what I would say is that this card is able to hold his own at centre back. I don't think he does it well at right back, but for the price against some of these right backs, it's a really good value card, guys. I do feel like he's a lot more capable than a lot of these cards, especially that Quadrado there. I do feel like this Quadrado lacks in certain areas that this Sambia definitely does have. Which leads me into my final recommendation, guys. I really like this card, guys. I think this card is really well priced for a centre-back card, guys, not a full-back card. I would use this guy in centre-back, and I do feel like he's very capable, especially with the anchor chemistry style on him. He's more than able to play that centre-back role. At full-back, his work rates tend to... he tends to get lost a little bit with his work rates at the fullback slot, and the general movement as well, because he is so big, tends to suffer a little. But at centre-back, he really is a usable card, and that's where I'd recommend you guys pick him up for. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do smash that like button. Until next time, I will see you all in a bit.